Shweta, it was awesome having you on the podcast. I'm so glad that we've had time to meet and connect. You've been a wonderful person to talk with, and I hope everyone enjoys this episode. Cheers. What is it about your journey that makes you really excited?
I would say constantly changing.
Mm.
That is something that makes the whole thing exciting is there are a lot of changes and I embrace those changes very happily.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm a person who is very much scared of staying static or
Mm.
not changing at all. I remember I was in an interview and my manager asked me, my current manager, like, what is going to be something that's going to make you unhappy in a job? And I told her,
Mm.
like, if 365 days later from today, I'm doing the same thing that I'm doing right now, I think
Mm.
it's time for me to quit because there is nothing new happening. So I am not saying that, you shouldn't be settling down or stay stable. It's just not for me. For me, like
Mm.
I need changes. I need
Mm.
changes in the location where I'm living. I need changes in my wardrobe. I need changes in my job. I'm not changing jobs, but I need
Yeah.
to grow in new roles, in new projects. So my whole journey has been about changing. I don't think so. I've seen myself in the same place for more than 1 or 2 years.
Wow. Like, and as far as a position goes, or
Everywhere, both mentally, you can say, professionally, personally. I have been drastically changing as a person as well.
yeah.
And the people around me, they find it really difficult to recognize the new versions. And they are always like, oh my God, you changed so much the last time we saw you. And I take it as a positive comment because I feel like I'm not stuck anywhere. I'm
Yeah.
growing.
Wow. Wow. And when we're talking about change, like what is changing? Just like your attitude or like the education you're getting or like your style, like you said, you mentioned clothes as well.
I would say everything because if we talk about attitude, I have seen myself changing from being a social butterfly to right now a very concentrated social life. Hang out only with 2 or 3 people other than my family members. And earlier I knew like I was known to 1,000, 2,000 people. I would just like hang around. Then other changes I would say in the matter of education is I'm in technology. So it's mandatory for me to upgrade myself to survive in this world in
Mm.
2024. So if it comes to education, and I'm an educator myself, so when students ask me questions I don't know answer about, it means it's the time for me to go back and refresh and learn more. And
Yeah.
that happens a lot of time. Like they ask me something and I'm like, I'll get back to you because I don't know the answer to that. And then I'll
Mm.
come back home and I'll study about it. Clothing, like, yeah, I have again, I look back at my old pictures and I'm like, who is this person? That happens to me. I have constantly been changing in terms of my professional life, my personal life, my social life, how I spend money. Sometimes I'm too reckless, sometimes I'm very wise. Also, in terms of traveling, I used to love traveling with people. Now I'm a solo traveler.
Wow.
So like I said, like I'm really focusing on the constantly changing stuff, everything inside out. So
Mhm.
that's been a very major part.
Wow. What do you feel like that changed for you in terms of traveling with others to traveling by yourself?
I don't want to be sound like very much picky, but I have my own routine to follow. I am an early riser. Even I'm on vacations, I
Hmm.
wake up around 5:36 in the morning.
Wow.
I get ready, and by 7, I'm actually out of the hotel or hostel wherever I'm staying. I love to explore the early, morning in
Mm.
places where the tourists are still not around. And I travel solo, like I said, so I really believe in focusing on my safety. So I am not usually out till late night if I'm not familiar with how safe the place is.
Mm.
And maybe people are looking for different things when they're traveling. I don't want them to blend according to me, and I don't want to blend according to them.
Right.
So it's easier for me to travel by myself because I have my own itinerary. And you won't believe, Ian, some days, if the last trip I was on, like the California road trip, it
Yeah.
was around 20 days. And I had 1 or 2 days in between, I was doing nothing at all
Wow.
because I'm needed my body to take a break. I don't want to travel like a maniac, like, you know what, wake up, travel, travel, travel. No, just live there. I used to have like 3 to 4 hours break between two places. If I want to stay longer in, let's say, Golden Bridge, I
Mhm.
can stay longer. I don't have to worry about the other person
Mhm.
who wants to go and see something else. Yeah, so maybe that's the reason I chose to travel solo.
Wow, that makes sense. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel that others influenced you in certain ways? Like, do you have someone in particular that comes to mind that you're like, oh, this person for sure had an influence on me, or what would you say?
I have very good mentors in life, and I look up to them, when I'm struggling with something or I find some situations challenging. Of course, one of the good things my mentors have taught me is avoid spoon feeding. So don't rush to get help.
Hmm.
First, try to figure out things on your own. Um, I also look up a lot to my own dad. I have seen him doing amazing in his life, in his professional life, as well as, no man is perfect. So I have seen him doing great in
Oh,
raising me and my sister up. Like we were like princess pampered, but trust me, we were raised like warriors. We can survive anything in this world. So I am really grateful to have, parents like them who
yeah.
never, I come from India. So, it was a struggle when I was growing up to have exactly the same privileges that a boy will have for the
Okay.
girls. So probably that was something my parents really fought with the society and made sure that me and my sister have the same privileges that,
Oh, wow.
uh, any guy child would have. So yeah, I look up to my dad. I look up to my mom, my elder sister. She's a very good example. And other than my family, I really look up to my mentors. They are amazing. They have taught me a lot in life. And they're still teaching me a lot whenever I feel stuck.
That's awesome. How did you end up running across your mentors?
I met them across the path. I would say I was never looking for a mentor. My first mentor I met when I worked for him around 15 to 17 years back. When I met him for the very first time, I was like, oh my God, he's so amazing. Like, how can he maintain such an amazing schedule, a routine, a discipline? And then over the time he shared, like, he wakes up at 4 o'clock and he still has time to do every business stuff along with giving time to his family. Classes with his son because he loves acting. And I'm like, how do you do it? It's just 24 hours. And then over the time, I came to Canada, and I have a mentor here called Tom, and I worked for him, and he has been such a big support for me as, a father figure, you can say, in Canada.
Mhm.
Then my manager, my current manager, and my previous manager, both the women are a source of inspiration for me.
Aw.
They are handling family, work,
Mhm.
fun, everything so flawlessly that
Yeah.
when I look up to them and I feel like if they can do it, I can do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I'm curious with what you said earlier about changing and that nature of things. Like, how often did you see your own parents like changing in some way?
So I have realized one thing, which I was talking about with someone about this earlier, that I am changing in a very fast pace, and I
Mm.
cannot expect the same thing from my parents. If they have believed in something for like 30, 40 years, I cannot expect them to just flip a coin and like, oh, okay, we believe what you believe in.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes me days, weeks, and even months to make them see what I see. And, they are someone, every parent wants a secured future for their kids, right?
Mhm.
So my parents also thought like I'll be someone who would be like saving a lot of money for safety in the future. I am someone who spends all my money on traveling. It took me almost 2 years, like not 2 years, more than 2 years, to make them see that I do not want to save a lot of money. Instead, I want to travel. That's my savings.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
I'm making. So
Yeah.
now they have accepted it, and it took me almost not even 2 years, and it took me almost 3 to 4 years to convince them, like, I don't want to buy a house. Instead, I want to travel to places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, once in a while, they still bring it up. that you should get a house. I'm like, I don't want to get stuck to a piece of land. What if tomorrow I want to leave Canada and I want to be in Norway? I don't want to get stuck to paying mortgages of a place where I don't even know if I'm going to stay forever or not.
I can understand that.
It takes a while for them to come around, and then we have to be patient. Like they have been patient with us a lot while we were growing up. So I believe like all we can do in return is be patient with them and make them understand.
That's great. And then you're talking about privileges, and I'm like not incredibly familiar with what the differences are because I've always grown up in the States. So I'd love to hear your viewpoints on what it meant to have the same privileges as you were saying the boys have different privileges than girls or something like that.
So I'm a 90s kid, okay? I won't say it's still the same. I
Mm,
don't know if it's still the same or not because now I'm not around growing children there back home.
hmm
But when I was growing up, boys had more privileges than
mm,
girls. We had regional languages school, right? And
mm.
English school would always be more expensive. I'm just giving you one simple example.
Okay.
My dad was going through a financial hard phase when we were growing up.
hmm
And everyone around told them, like, why are your daughters studying in an English medium school where you can actually cut back the fees, the tuition fees, and send them to a regional language school? But they won't do it for a son because a son is supposed to, grow up, get a job, earn money, and take care of his parents. But girls are intended to look like they're gonna grow up, even if they study or don't study, they're gonna get married, and if they're earning money, it's going to her husband's house, not the parents' house. So you see, there is no return in the investment. A son is going to take care of you, but a daughter is going to take care of her husband and his family, not yours. But things changed over the time. I don't have a brother. It's just me and my sister. So we
Mm.
take care of our parents. And I have seen my mom and dad setting examples in the society that if you give 100% to your daughter's education,
hmm
then she will be independent later. And I've seen a lot of people following them, and I'm so proud of them. Now I see people coming to me saying that because of your dad, I was able to become an engineer.
Wow.
Because my father saw your father, and your father told my dad that no, I should, you should help her educate. And right now I'm a doctor or I'm an engineer.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, I feel so privileged to be, part of him. Like, it's great. Like not
Wow.
people would have courage at that time to educate their daughters so
hmm
hard.
hmm
And even we make mistakes, right? And everything would come up to our parents saying, like, see, that's why we were asking you not to make them like super educated because now they are making mistakes.
Wow. Like
Yeah,
other people are blaming them in a way, or
yeah, well, if you don't exactly, while growing up, you're definitely gonna mess up few things.
sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just common. Yeah.
you're definitely gonna mess up few things. So, they will be like they're gonna blame the education if you mess up. And I'm saying this 20 years back, okay? I'm not telling it now. Now things have changed. I'm very happy to see, people growing and giving equal rights to both men and women back
Mhm.
home. But I'm just talking about 90s and time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm hearing from you is that it would be considered acceptable to send a boy to get higher education and pay for that education, but for usually with women or the girls that it would be seen as kind of like, why are you doing that? There's a little bit more of a second guessing.
Yes, sort
Oh
of.
wow. Okay.
I mean, if you have money, then you can send both of them. If you
Mhm.
are short on money, then you should choose the guy over the girl to get
Wow.
educated. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that was something like I have seen my mom and dad fighting against the society and making sure that we get the best of education and the best of freedom, like, and also the independence, like I said, like I can fix a spark plug of a car or a motorbike because my dad
Oh,
has
wow.
taught us. If there is something related to electrician or plumbing work, we can do it. Like literally, me and my sister are trained to do every single thing. We can assemble furniture, we can whatever you ask us, like whatever a guy can do, we can do it.
Oh wow.
So I feel like that's because I give credit to my parents for making us this independent. So that we
Wow.
I'm not saying like, it's not about feminism, it's not about, who's superior than whom. It's just about if I am stuck in a situation where there
Hmm.
is no men or women or anyone around to help me, can
Hmm.
I get out of this situation or not?
Oh,
It's
wow.
actually not about gender. It's about self-capability. If I am stuck in a situation, am I capable enough to figure out a way to get out of it? Simple.
Hmm.
Whether it's a girl, it's a guy, whoever it is, everyone should know this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. I didn't know that was like the type of culture over there either.
Yeah, it used to be. It used to be really like that. Like my mom wanted to finish her education. She was in her graduation, like college, and the
Hmm.
last year she got married. Like she didn't had a say in that, like, I don't want to get married.
Really?
S- Yeah, I think she missed her final semester as far as I remember.
She what?
Yeah, but on the other hand, my father got an opportunity to do his master's after he got married. See, there's a difference. Like, my mom wanted to finish her education, but now she has kids. She has husband, in-laws to take care of. My dad, and my mom was pregnant with my sister, he actually went out and finished his pending education.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just how things are. I'm not complaining about it, but I do want more and more people to see that, education opportunities do not come with gender. It should come to everyone. And now
Mm.
it's on me how much I'm taking opportunity of that skill, of that, given advice or, as you say, education. And then what I do with it is on me.
Wow. 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 That's cool. I really admire that. That's great. And I'm sorry to ask, like, what for one of the more final questions, like, what do you feel like would help somebody else out, like a piece of advice or a word of wisdom?
I would say in today's world, in 2024, I would particularly say there is so much going on around.
Mm.
We see social media, we see LinkedIn, we see, oh my God, people are traveling countries, they are getting promotions, they are doing startup, they are becoming billionaires, they're buying, amazing cars worth 150, $100. Like, okay, but don't get distracted. We have been
Mm.
hearing this a lot from a lot of, influencers as well. Like, you have to keep your focus on. And I think when you are looking for motivations, that is, don't look 100 different places. That is
Mm.
also distraction. You gotta keep your focus on one simple thing. What do you want to do? And don't feel like that's what you want to do for the rest of your life. Don't be scared. You know why kids nowadays are not able to pick a career? They are like, oh, I don't want to get bored. I don't want to get stuck. See, I'm not getting stuck. I'm looking at a lot of changes in my life. But when
Mm.
I'm talking to you, Ian, my 100% focus is on talking to you. Right now, I'm not thinking like what I'm going to do after 7 p.m. or what I'm going to cook for dinner, how my tomorrow looks like. So when you scroll down those reels, what happens is like in every 15 seconds, there is a change of content. And we have
Mm.
been hearing this. Same way, when you are looking at five different motivational speakers, you hear them, you pick what's working out for you, you read
Mm.
books, pick what's working out for you, and stay consistent. Routine is not boring stuff. It's a very adventurous thing because it's very challenging. It's as equivalent as skydiving.
Wow.
So if you can wake up every day at 5 a.m., trust me, you are able to, jump out of a plane 100 times without
Wow.
fear. Now your brain is under your control. You are telling your
Mm.
brain that you're not gonna hit snooze, you're gonna wake up every day, no matter what. Routine is not boring for kids nowadays. I always tell this, like, if you think I'm a boring person because I follow a routine, you don't know the kick in it. You don't know the adventurous.
Ah,
Yeah, you have to follow a routine to get somewhere.
I love
Jeff Boss said that if you don't fall in love with boredom, you're not reaching anywhere.
wow. I've heard that before.
Yeah, you're gonna get bored no matter where you are. You're gonna get bored. But the thing is, are you being consistent still because you want to reach somewhere? So I
Hmm.
feel like everyone, please follow a routine and don't try to create a routine from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. on day one. Just
Right.
create one simple routine that I'm gonna have lunch every day at 12 p.m. no matter
Nice.
what. Start there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Some solid advice.
What about you? Do you have any advice for me that I can take away?
I'd say one general thing that I think helps people out is there's our environment, and there's five things that I have assessed that makes up our environment. And it's the people around us, it's the things and the objects that we have, like computers, desks, the car, sticky notes, pads, pencils, how close or far away these things are. And there's two other ones, but it's more about being strategic about having these things and deciding their placement. Because if someone has a TV and a couch and that's in their living room and the couch is facing the TV, then chances are that's what that person is going to do. But if they change their environment around, they choose different things and objects, like a desk and a computer, and they put that in the room, then chances are that's what they're going to focus on. So by thinking of, anything that's not going the way somebody wants it to go, whether it be like working on a certain habit or working on a certain project, not to say, oh no, I'm just not motivated enough, but to transition the thought process and say, okay, what do I need to do the project? Okay, I need to gather all those items and put them near me. Because you're no one's lacking motivation. It's just the things that you need aren't near you. And so you can't work on it, or there's some difficulty arising that isn't being looked at. And so by showing up and just trying to move these things closer and closer together, I can't guarantee, like, there's that phrase, you can't bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The same rule applies. But if you bring that horse to water, it makes it more possible for that horse to drink.
That's amazing. It's equivalent to what in Atomic Habits we read, like make it obvious, right? Like you have to make it obvious. I love it. Thank you. I really like the, example of like having a couch and the TV and having a work desk. So it does make a difference. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That's lovely. It was really nice talking to you about this. And thanks for helping me out before as well in planning the whole podcast thing. I really look forward to having you as guest in
Aw,
my podcast channel. So maybe next time when we are doing this, I'm the one who's asking you questions.
I love it.
Yeah, but this is great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.